one thing I'm looking forward to in 2026, well, there are a number of things. From a sports perspective, is the New York Knicks at 23-9, taking on the San Antonio Spurs tonight down in San Antonio. Who better to chat about with it than CP the Fanchise, creator of Knicks Fan TV, joins me now. CP, Happy New Year to you and your family, and appreciate the time here on this afternoon.
Mark, Happy New Year to you as well. Always a pleasure to be on with you.
CP, what's impressed you here through 32 games here for Mike Brown?
Well, right now, it's Mike Brown himself, Mark, and the impact that he's had on this team, the way that they've been able to implement his offense, the number 2 ranked offense in the NBA. At times, they've looked downright dangerous. And so that is Mike Brown getting his message through, and this cohesive Knicks locker room executing on the floor. But what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, Mark, is that the extended bench, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, 11th players, in particular the Knicks' second-round picks, like a Tyler Kolek, Mohamed Diawara, you saw Kevin McCullers, they are playing well and contributing to winning. That is something that we really didn't see last year under Tom Thibodeau, and it was a mandate for Mike Brown to do so this year. And so the Knicks are getting contributions up and down that roster, and especially given the fact that they've had to endure a multitude of injuries so far in the season, I think they're off to a hot start and really looking great right now.
Now, CP, what about where do you, offensively, they've been off the charts. Where do you think this team is defensively through 30-plus games?
Work in progress, Mark. Unfortunately, they're down to 15th ranked in the NBA right now. And listen, I don't expect them to ever be amongst the top 5 of the NBA elites, but they need to be a little bit better than they are right now. And two areas stand out. Number one, their 3-point defense. If you look at the game in which they won against New Orleans, but they gave up, number one, they gave up 125 points to the New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans shooting close to 40% from 3. And for the Knicks, Mike Brown does deploy a defense where they want to take away the paint points, but that means that they have to be able to close out on 3-point shooters. And I didn't see that effort. I didn't see that intensity in their win over the New Orleans Pelicans. Another area where they're susceptible, and watch it tonight against a speedy, athletic team like the San Antonio Spurs, is in transition, Mark. Whether it's makes or misses, the Knicks, oftentimes, they don't match up well in transition. A lot of teams, they want to find Jalen Brunson and get a size mismatch over him where they can shoot the 3, but also just getting beat to the other basket. They have to be able to match up and have to get back on defense in transition. Under Mike Brown, their transition defense has taken a hit.
When you look at this team individually, CP, Brunson, everyone's a fan, all right? And he's been a great instrument of change for the New York Knicks ever since coming over from the Dallas Mavericks. Through what we've seen early part of this season, is this the best version of Brunson we've seen so far as a Knick?
Hard to believe, Mark, but it is. Right now, number 4 on the NBA MVP ladder. And like I said, I can't believe that he's gotten even better this year, because if you would tell me that what we've seen so far could be his ceiling, I think you'd live with it. I think you'd be okay with it, because he's still one of the best players in the NBA. But every game, he continues to marvel with his offense, especially with his size. And you just watch his footwork, the way that he's able to maneuver and manipulate defenses, the way that he's able to use angles to get his shot, the fadeaway jumpers, the 3-point pull-up jumpers. He's been absolutely electric. And this year, where they wanted to emphasize him playing off-ball a little bit, you've seen that in the metrics. He's getting the ball a little bit less time on ball, but he's still efficient with his offense. And so Jalen Brunson is just what the doctor ordered. You just hope that he stays healthy as the Knicks head into the second half and beyond.
You know what, CP, the other thing that's impressed me, number one, the offense, obviously the record. They're sitting there in second behind Detroit in the Eastern Conference. But, CP, they came into this year with great expectations. Thibodeau ouster, obviously that hits some guys differently on this team than others, right? They added to this team during the course of the offseason. Mike Brown steps in with the ultimatum, it's basically, we're doing this to win an NBA championship, and the team has performed, which says a lot about the team.
Resilient group, a focused group, a cohesive locker room. And it's showing in the standings right now. Just 1.5 games behind the Detroit Pistons in the East, and a big matchup between these two teams, Mark, after the new year on January 5th in Detroit. Definitely circled that date. But one of the things also offensively, Mark, that makes this offense equal opportunity is the ball movement and the passing. at times under Tom Thibodeau, listen, the Knicks have had top-ranked offenses under Tibbs. They were top 5 last year. However, you didn't see this ball movement as consistently. This has been a staple of their offense, and so it allows different guys to eat. You're seeing guys scoring off of cuts, so they're getting efficient offense at the rim. Their three-point shots, Mike Brown wants them around 40 attempts per game. They're getting there and they're efficient at it. But also what makes them so dangerous, Mark, is that when they're not firing the offensive rebounding prowess of Mitchell Robinson, when healthy, Josh Hart as well, Karl Anthony Towns, they can get the second chance opportunities to get more possessions. And that's what this game is about, this modern NBA game. It's a possession game, and the Knicks are doing very well offensively.
CP, if I had to ask you an X factor, I've got an idea of my own, but I wanted to see what yours was. If I had to ask you an X factor for this team in terms of where they get through the East, they're able to, compete for an NBA title. When you look at this group, who do you think the biggest X factor is?
Well, you got to look no further than the highest paid player on the team. And no, it's not Jalen Brunson, Mark. It is Karl Anthony Towns. And that's the biggest question mark, the biggest enigma. And I've always looked at him that way, even when they traded Julius Randle for Karl Anthony Towns. When people would ask me, what do you think about this trade? I said, well, they're trading one question mark for another. Because as great as Karl Anthony Towns can be, the three-point shooting, the inside scoring, the rebounding, at times he can take himself out of games. Look no further than their last win against the New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans did a great job targeting Karl Anthony Towns in the pick and roll game where they would get Zion Williamson going downhill and driving into Karl Anthony Towns' body because they know that he is not a disciplined defender, and he picked up 3 quick fouls in that first quarter. Prior to that, it's been the offensive fouls. He's leading the league in offensive fouls right now, Mark, and that's a turnover. And so we heard head coach Mike Brown call him out earlier this week and say he has to be smarter with his defense and has to be smarter in how he's attacking the basket to avoid those silly turnovers. The Knicks need Karl Anthony Towns to be the all-star, the all-NBA player to have a shot at this title. Because one thing's for sure, in clutch time, or what I call money time, I can count on Jalen Brunson to be there. I'm not so sure about Karl Anthony Towns, but the Knicks are going to need him if they really want to win a championship.
I'm going to get your thoughts on Giannis here momentarily, but I want to ask you about Mitchell Robinson now dealing with an ankle. He's not going to be available tonight against San Antonio. They've used him and been able to modify him a little bit this year, CP, because they're trying to make sure that he is healthy, available come the springtime and come the playoffs. What about the impact of Mitch?
He's been brilliant, Mark, especially on the offensive glass, getting the Knicks a second chance opportunities, and that's been his staple since he's been here. The defense has taken a step back a little bit. He seems to have lost a step here and there, but on the boards, Mark, I mean, you look at that Christmas Day game, the NBA Cup matchup against the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, the Knicks don't get back into that game without Mitchell Robinson getting them those second chance opportunities. Unfortunately, he is dealing with ankle soreness. And from what I was told is that when he is coming up sore, the Knicks are going to put him through a full evaluation, and they're going to sit him until he feels comfortable and ready to get back. Casey Smith, their head athletic trainer, he's done a great job. They've been singing his praises, and the coaching staff, they defer to him. And that's something that, again, the Mike Brown comparisons or the difference to Tom Thibodeau, this is a cohesive plan from the coaching staff to the medical staff to even Mitchell Robinson's agents. They want to make sure that they are being extremely cautious with this to make sure that Mitchell Robinson can be there for the Knicks when it really matters, and that's during playoff time in April and hopefully beyond.
We're chatting with CP the Fanchise from Knicks Fan TV, creator of, and CP's great, loves the Knicks, as we all do here in the New York area. And the Knicks obviously on a season this year where potentially getting through the Eastern Conference and getting themselves to an NBA Finals and a true NBA championship contender. CP, with all that being said, would you look at tweaking this team? And it would be more than just a tweak. I mean, we've seen the rumors. We know the conversations were had between the two organizations in August. We know Giannis loves New York, and we've seen him in the city during the course of the offseason. When you look at it, would you rather roll it with this team and see where it lands before anything else, or do you think this team goes big game hunting at some point?
No question, Mark. I highly doubt they go big game hunting for Giannis. You would be tearing apart the team, Mark, because this wouldn't be a one-for-one trade to get Giannis and to get Milwaukee to bite on something where, GM John Horst doesn't end up like Nico Harrison on the chopping block. You have to give them something sizable. So that would mean for the Knicks giving up maybe one or two starters and some of your supporting cast. You would completely change the team. I think the Knicks will be looking to make upgrades on the margins. As we just talked about Mitchell Robinson, the way that the Knicks are getting contributions at the guard spot, maybe they go look to see if they can get another backup big man for insurance and maybe using Gershon Yabusele's $5+ million to do so. They may be able to pull a rabbit out of a hat there. But for right now, Mark, this team is clicking on all cylinders. Even though the Detroit Pistons are in first place, I still look at the Knicks as the best team in the East, the most well-rounded team. And there's no better chance than now, Mark. This is their chance to take the East. And then from there, you just never know. This is why they play the games. You see the OKC Thunder. Everyone was crowning them until, hey, the San Antonio Spurs have beaten them 3 times this year. You just never know what can happen in a 7-game series when you get to the NBA Finals. But this is the year. This is their best chance, Mark. And I think just subtle tweaks to help the bench, but nothing major. I don't see the Giannis thing happening. And now, listen, once the season ends, I'm sure Leon Rose, Worldwide West, James Dolan, they will evaluate this entire roster up, down, top to bottom. And then, hey, maybe they pursue Giannis in the offseason. But for right now, I think they stay put on any major acquisitions.
No, I'm with you. And listen, from your lips to God's ears, CP, get to the NBA Finals. As a long-suffering Knicks fan, you know what? Roll the dice. Whoever's standing there, Oak City, San Antonio, doesn't matter. Just get through the East. And Detroit, you would say, CP, the biggest threat, correct? I know they're a game and a half up on the Knicks right now. Do you think they're the biggest threat to the Knicks in the East?
As of right now, I would say yes. When you look at Detroit led by Cade Cunningham, the emergence of Jalen Brunson in his, I believe he's in his 3rd or 4th year now in the NBA. Their defense is stout. They have athleticism abound. That's something that hurts the Knicks. That is one of the Knicks' key weaknesses. And the Pistons just beating the Lakers last night in Los Angeles with a ton of points in the paint. That's another area where the Knicks need to be cautious. So they're tough. They're going to be tough, and they're certainly circling that matchup with the Knicks. But, Mark, with Boston sitting there in 3rd place and the rumors about Jason Tatum potentially coming back, what will Brad Stevens do at the trade deadline? I wouldn't necessarily count out the Celtics as being another threat in the East. But as I said, right now, I think it's the Knicks to lose.
CP, one more for you before we let you go, and appreciate all the time, would be this. When you look at the role players, and that was a big, obviously talking point with Tibbs. It's not so much a talking point with Brown, and he wanted to get more of the bench involved, keep the starters fresh, make sure they've got lively legs come playoff time. Of those guys, which one has impressed you the most? Which one is the most sustainable?
I would say as of right now, it's Tyler Kolek, Mark. I mean, he's taken a huge leap since his rookie season because some of the things that we wanted to see from his rookie year was more aggressive offensively, and how will he hold up defensively given his frame. And you've seen several games now where Mike Brown has not been afraid to go to Tyler Kolek in crunch time. You've seen him play alongside Jalen Brunson, and the team has won. You look at the NBA Cup matchup Christmas Day as well. But also, Mark, we just saw in their win over the Atlanta Hawks where Tyler Kolek is being inserted for defensive situations with Jalen Brunson going to the bench. So, I mean, he has improved leaps and bounds. I've talked to his trainers. They continue to sing his praises in terms of how much work that he's put in. And as it relates to the trade deadline, that could sway the Knicks' decision process in terms of what they need. Because you remember earlier when the season started, they went out and signed Malcolm Brogdon to be the backup point guard, and he abruptly retired. And so many thought that that area may be a hole for the Knicks. How would they shore that up? And Tyler Kolek has proven that he's the guy for the job. And so the guard depth has been a strength for the Knicks bench, and he's been leading the way. Very impressive so far.
CP, what do you got coming up on Knicks Fan TV? Are you guys going post-game tonight after the San Antonio game? I know you guys do a great job with watch parties, events. What's coming up on Knicks Fan TV?
Absolutely. Well, this week we crossed the 100,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. A huge accomplishment for Knicks Fan TV. The support of Knicks fans, not just in New York, but worldwide, Mark. I mean, we had callers calling in that night from India, Australia, the Philippines. It's truly been a blessing. This Friday, we will be having a watch party in New York City for when the Knicks take on the Hawks. That will be at Clinton Hall 36, and that's right by the Garden, right by Madison Square Garden. The address is, I'll just pull it up for you real quick. Sorry. The address is 16 West 36th Street. So free to get in. The families are all welcome. Bring the kids and have a good time. We do a great time, have prizes. We have raffles and all sorts of things. Live game audio, which the people truly value. But it's just a great time to be had by all.
Well, congratulations to you and your entire team. You could do an unbelievable job with Knicks Fan TV, CP, and appreciate the time. And you know this, once we get past football season, CP, the Knicks, it's going to be Knicks and nothing else, because that's basically all we got to focus on here in New York.
Mark, given the state of New York baseball, New York football, it's all eyes on the New York Knicks once again. And, when the Knicks are going, the city's rocking. But I got to tell you, I got to give you thanks for all that you've done in inspiring me on my journey. I tell you all the time, I wouldn't be here without guys like you and guys on the fan. So I appreciate the time spending with you, and Happy New Year once again, man.
You too. You, CP. You as well. And